I wasn't sure if I would ever get married or have kids. This wasn't just some passing confession. It was a lifetime of heartbreak laid bare by Malcolm-Jamal Warner. The man the world once adored as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show carried a truth that cut deep. Every time he loved, loss was never far behind. And on his final day, just before fate closed the curtain, that truth burned brighter than ever. In a dim room in Costa Rica, under the glow of fading amber light, Malcolm sat in silence. With pen in hand, he wrote down 5 names. Not friends, not rivals, lovers. Each name was soaked in pain, each a scar carved into his story. He admitted flat out, "I will never forgive." These weren't just people. They were entire chapters of his life written in heartbreak. A first love that ended in tragedy. A deep bond that slipped away without warning. A glitzy Hollywood romance that crumbled into bitterness. An affair tangled in torment and doubt. And finally, a late-found happiness that was cruelly stolen by fate. Before leaving this world, Malcolm didn't speak to anyone, only the page. But that single page left behind a haunting question that refuses to fade. Who were those 5 names? And why did he hold on to that bitterness right up until the very end? Was it love or something darker? Back in his 20s, Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't this shadowed man of secrets. He was the rising star, the fresh face of a generation. As Theo Huxtable, he filled American living rooms with laughter, innocence, and even hope during a time of change. But the moment those studio lights went dark, the mask of the carefree teenager slipped away, and Malcolm stepped into a world where the pain was real and the spotlight couldn't save him. People saw Malcolm-Jamal Warner as the triple threat: actor, musician, director, and all-around artist dripping with talent. But what most never realized was that behind the fame, Malcolm wasn't chasing awards or applause. He was chasing love. More than the spotlight, more than the trophies, he wanted someone to fill the silence when the cameras stopped rolling. In one haunting interview, he admitted, "I'm not afraid to fail in my career, but I'm afraid of being alone in a dark room." That line wasn't just a confession, it was a warning. The hidden thread that stitched together his chaotic love life. On the surface, Malcolm was the charmer linked to Hollywood stunners, young rising singers, co-stars with star power, and even women far away from the industry's glare. The tabloids loved it. But behind those polished smiles and red carpet moments were silences heavy enough to crush him. Malcolm loved like a wildfire, fierce, consuming. But when it came to forgiveness, he struggled. Each heartbreak didn't end with a fight or a dramatic scene. Instead, he retreated into silence. He left behind puzzle pieces, cryptic quotes in interviews, moody blues tracks filled with ache, and diary pages nobody ever saw until the very end. Because in his final days, the silence broke. He left behind the rawest words of his life, a list of 5 women he called wounds that never healed. These weren't just names, they were ghosts, shadows that stalked him, shaping his loneliness and haunting his heart until his last breath. And before we peel back each of these painful stories, one thing must be said loud and clear. Malcolm-Jamal Warner wasn't just an artist, he was a man with a fragile heart. A man who once believed, once gave everything, and once lost it all. And that loss is exactly what molded the Malcolm we thought we knew. The world never got to fully know Michelle Thomas, the first pure love of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's life, and the loss that scarred him forever. They say first love is the sweetest, the most fragile, and the hardest to forget. For Malcolm, that love had a name, Michelle Thomas. She wasn't just his on-screen girlfriend, she was his first real partner in life. The woman who carved a wound so deep in him, it never truly healed. Back in 1988, The Cosby Show was at its absolute peak, pulling in over 30 million viewers a week, an American obsession. That season, Michelle Thomas, only 20 years old, was cast as Justine Phillips, Theo Huxtable's girlfriend. At just 18, Malcolm was still a fresh-faced young star. But when Michelle walked onto that set, something shifted. What started as scripted kisses and pretend romance for the cameras quickly blurred into something real. Those staged glances turned electric, and before long, the young co-stars had slipped into a love story of their own. They tried to keep it quiet, shielding their relationship from tabloids and fans. But love like that couldn't stay hidden. Together, Malcolm and Michelle became Hollywood's new symbol of young love. Beautiful, talented, and absolutely adored, they were the golden pair of the late 80s. For 6 unforgettable years, Michelle wasn't just a girlfriend, she was Malcolm's anchor. But in 1994, the couple quietly split as careers in different directions. Still, their bond never snapped. Then tragedy struck. In 1997, Michelle was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive form of stomach cancer. By December 1998, she was confined to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York. The news shattered Malcolm. Without hesitation, he dropped everything in Los Angeles and rushed to her side. Years apart didn't matter anymore. He was there, holding her hand as her world slipped away. In her final moments, Michelle whispered 2 haunting words, elephant juice. Their secret code for I love you, spoken one last time before the silence claimed her forever. Just days later, on December 23, 1998, Michelle slipped away at only 30 years old. Malcolm was there, gripping her hand until her very last breath. At just 28, he was forced to say goodbye to his first and truest love. The loss hit him like a lightning strike. For years afterward, he refused to let her memory fade. In 2015, decades later, Malcolm shared an old photo of Michelle on Instagram with a caption that left thousands of fans weeping. An angel walking the earth, lighting up every place she went. Rest well, my love, you are missed. Even after Malcolm moved on, married, and became a father, Michelle's ghost lingered. She had a permanent place in his heart, a space no one else could ever claim. And when Malcolm passed in 2025, Michelle's official memorial page honored him with a farewell that felt like fate itself was closing the loop. They say time heals all wounds, but for Malcolm, the wound named Michelle Thomas never closed.